Hello, welcome to a new video. It's the second one this year, and again it's a test video, so I might add a few things, but not all the things that I normally do. So keep that in mind. So it's the second video and we are testing two different things, and I know technically some things will go wrong already. The first one is the second test with the new camera setup or the new camera mount that we can rotate a little bit. So for example, I'm now aiming clearly to the right of my bike, to give you more of a view. As you can see, I'm still trying to figure out not to put my handle into the picture too much, but I think this adds quite a nice feature. So I can now see that I'm moving the camera to the other side. So in this video I'm still, I would say, overusing the feature a little bit, because I'm still trying to learn how to use it and how to probably best make an even better way to connect it to my my bicycle. But in the future the idea is, when we are going on our real trips to outer cities and small villages, that I can show you more of the nature on the left side or the right side of the bicycle. So that's one thing we are testing. The second thing we are testing, which as a result is the stabilization of the camera, and I'm not overly happy with the result of this video, in that I see a little bit more shakiness than in the old videos. So tell me what you think about it, if you think that I'm just sort of being over serious about this, or there's some truth to it. It might be because I also had my phone on, so it was sending the picture from the camera to my phone. That might be part of the reason why it's a little bit more troublesome. So it's this is being recorded on the 21st of January. It's quite cold. It's going to be stormy tomorrow, and it was very cold yesterday. So there's still some snow and ice on the ground. It's above freezing. So, but it was like a small period before the weather got worse again. So definitely not summertime. That might also be why the camera is a little bit more shaking, because of the amount of light that it has. So the last thing that we are testing is, I added a new microphone. So I have a microphone on the back of the bicycle, which you hear in the background. Normally I would have one plugged into the camera. I'm now using a new one that is able to send the audio directly to the camera internally using Bluetooth. It's just released, and I did find out that at the end of the video it stopped working, so I will stop there with the recording. And there's some small gaps in the audio. I don't think you will notice, but so it's not perfect yet, but again, that's why I'm making this test video. So what are we going to do today? Well, we're going to test this camera, as you can see. So I'm now looking to the right, so that you can look out of the bridge or into the water in the Amsterdam-Rijn canal, so the big canal, and you can see it in the helicopter view where we are. And we're going from here into the inner city of Utrecht and do a, I would say, almost random drive around in the city center. There are quite a few people out, even if it's cold, even people with kids. Like I said, it's a tiny bit above freezing, but still quite a few people in the city. It's definitely not the tourist period, but I was quite amazed on the Sunday afternoon how many people are out and about. So I'm also at times a little bit more careful on the bicycle path, because there are still some icy patches left on the right. So I hope you enjoy this ride. It will take me about 10 minutes to get into the old city. I think we have done one video before where I'm biking around in the old city part. I will do it a little bit longer now, but of course it's not sunny and not very filled with people, although at some point it was quite busy. So we'll definitely do something like this in the summertime when the weather is nicer. So we're going to our left here. Normally we would take a different route, but this is more the direct route to the inner city. Again, I'm now testing the camera by moving it to the left and to the right. So one of the things that, thank you for if you provided feedback. In the last video we asked about the horizon leveling, and you can see that I'm now automatically leveling the horizon, which results a tiny bit in a more shaky image at times. I think that's it, but I'm not sure. That's why I call this a testing video. So you can see on the helicopter view what we are doing. If we are following the direct road, so that's also the road that the trains are taking. As you can see, the train tracks in the helicopter view. We are following the train tracks from this part of the city into the inner city, to the central station area. And again, an example that I can now sort of aim the camera to one side, and I can show you more of our surroundings, in this case on our left side, where we can see the greenery. They tend to, it's kind of nice to see in the top view. I will make it a little bit bigger because this is a straight road anyway. And you can see they do that quite a lot. Is create these parks where you can take your dog, and sometimes there are special dog areas. And just sort of, I wouldn't call them a park, that would be definitely overkill, but at least some greenery, which is wider than you think, but you can't really see that normally on the camera, so that's why the helicopter view is quite a good example of that. So people will be walking around, and sometimes there are some homes or some old farmhouse still there. You can see that they are on both sides of the train tracks. You can also see on the helicopter view, we talked about this before, that some of this is blacked out. I think Google has to do that to please the security agencies or whatever. I'm not sure why else that will be blacked out. So this was always a road where you could cycle, but they kind of improved it, and although there's still speed bumps, which I don't like. I'm stopping for a second just to check if the microphone is still on the back of the bicycle. It is, so we continue. So this road was kind of assigned, I guess, to be a high-speed bicycle connection between these two parts of the city. So it's quite straight, and they redesigned it a little bit for the cars. And as you can see, quite a few people are using it as such. Of course, this is on a Sunday and it's January, so yeah, other times it will be way busier. The dog really didn't want to go. You can see the ice and the snow still on the ground. So now I'm putting the camera to the front again, so you can see the difference in what this new camera setup can bring. I hope this is more clear as in the previous video where I was asking for feedback, because now you can clearly see, especially if I'm moving it, what it actually does. I think it's quite nice to be able to show more of the buildings, and especially when we are going out to the city again, to show you a little bit more of the environment. So Utrecht is quite an old city, Utrecht, if you want to say it in Dutch. It's quite an old city founded by the Romans. So some of the things we are going to see are quite deep into the city, like the defense works and some of the main churches, and the Dom, which is the main tower we're going to also visit. They are quite in the inner city because it's so old. That means that, of course, the city grows in rings in a way, and these are quite close to the inner city before it started growing. So they hooked it up here so that you can now directly go onto the central station area. I pondered going through the biggest bicycle parking in the world. Sorry about the lights sort of blinking. That's also a result of the camera setup at the moment. I actually made a mistake. I had to go to the right and I didn't, so I have to circle around and take a different route. But what is nice is that in front of us we see, especially you see it now already on the helicopter view, the water that everybody's talking about, that they put the road back. Sorry, they took the road away and they put the water back. If you watch any videos on Utrecht, you probably have seen this. But now, of course, you can see it a little bit better in the helicopter view, where the water was first a highway. Well, first there was water, then there was a highway, and then they returned to water again. So we're going to follow that a little bit, but I made quite a few mistakes. I would almost call these days random riding. I sort of know where I'm going, but not perfectly, because I decided to change direction. So I first go to the left and then I go to the right again to get back where I wanted to go. So I'm not supposed to go this way, so now I kind of know, not want to go this way. They decided to loop around. We will be on this road later in this trip, which is about 45 minutes. But up ahead is the busiest bicycle path, or this is kind of the part of the busiest bicycle path in the Netherlands. At least that's what people say. But even on this kind of chilly Sunday morning, you can see that it's there are more people around than you would think. So you can see the name there called Hoog-Catharijne. I don't think I've talked about that before. So Hoog-Catharijne was like Europe's biggest shopping mall until the 1975 or something. It was built in the 1970s, and it kind of covers part of the inner city, and it's also part that they are now taking down again or redoing. So that the part we are now looking at, for example, has been redone. And yeah, it was quite a big shopping mall. It has about 2,000 shops inside, and part of the rebuilding, for example, it's kind of merged with the central station in Utrecht. And part of the rebuilding also resulted in this new bicycle parking, underground parking, which has room for 12,500 places. But both the building on the right and on the left used to be part of this shopping mall. And here, to the camera to the left, you saw a teapot. Hopefully you got it, otherwise go back 20 seconds and you can see it. I was trying to aim the camera for that. But over here is kind of one of the exits of the shopping mall. And it allows you to go into the left, which I'm going to do now, basically into the inner part. And for quick viewers, on in front of us is a building called the Inkpot, and there's a UFO on top of it. It's part of an art project. I'm checking if I can see it on the helicopter view. No, I don't think so. But there's a UFO on top of that building. It was part of an art project many years ago, and people liked it so much they left it on. They had to redo it because otherwise it would drop down. So they had to secure it and then installed it permanently. So we are now going into a place called the Mariaplaats. We don't have many Apple stores in the Netherlands. I think there are 3 total. But we have sort of a big brand of stores called Amex, and the first one was over here. And they're kind of what the Apple stores are in the United States. There's a music school over here. Conservatorium. And it was quite funny. The bicycle in front of me was stopping for the car, and everybody was stopping, and I was like, okay, then I will stop also. And it turns out difficult to see, but it turns out just some people getting out of the car, and everybody's waiting for about a minute. But I figured I can tell you something about this part of the city. Many people consider this kind of the entrance to the old city. I guess you could if you are coming from this direction. There used to be a famous discotheque over here. And a family member had a hi-fi shop over here, but it's now a spa. Of course, this is a good place if you are going to Utrecht to go from the central station through the exit I was just pointing out, and then go where we are now going to our left. And you can see the Dom Tower in front of us. It's still packed in. They almost finished redoing it. And we'll talk a little bit more about it when we are getting closer. You can see it's about 110 meters high. So they put it on the ground here, so you can kind of see how big it is. You can see they put the same shape on the ground. You can see it's quite busy with people. Of course, I'm driving really slowly here. So the Dom Tower itself was built in between 1250 and about 1500 and something. 1517. Just check the date. And it's 115 meters high. And it was a cathedral, but part of it fell down in the storm. Got knocked down. We are actually going to drive over that. So it's now a tower, and then the church part is kind of separated from it because it's just missing the middle part. So that part came down in a storm in 1647. And over its age they fixed up the tower quite a few times, and they are still doing it, and this year it's going to be finished for this time. So very slowly, there's some really nice places for drinking, and mostly students. The University of Utrecht has quite a few locations in the inner city, and of course they hang out. And one of the major parts of the university over here, and here you can see the tower on your left, and what's left of the cathedral on your right, and there's the university building, or one of the entrances to one of the buildings. So I'm circling, basically there's a garden there that you can go into if you're visiting. It's really nice to see. It's connected to the church part, but we are now basically going to drive over what used to be the church part. And this year it's going to be open again. They are taking off all the scaffolding. But we are now driving basically over the old church part where the tower was connected to the other part. You can see it on the 3D view quite clearly how that was connected. And they even have a painting up there so you can see how it was connected to the rest of the cathedral. So we'll continue our ride. Like I said, I'm kind of driving randomly into the city. There's quite a few cobblestones, and you can see that in the shaking of the camera at times. Like I said, I will look into that a little bit more. Why is doing that more than before? But I normally also don't drive in this part of the city. The cobblestones are quite bumpy. But as you can see, this part is not too busy. It also shows you indeed there are bicycles everywhere, but also cars, right? So if people say you can't drive your car in Utrecht, this is of course not the most easy. You don't see a lot of cars driving here, but you can clearly see that people who live here or need to be here, they have their car parked. So it's more sharing space, not excluding. And now I decided to where do I want to go. I was not sure. Making up my mind and decided to go to the right to continue our ride a little bit more. So sometimes not all the red areas are for bicycles. In this case, there are for the buses. At least was in middle, says bus line. But in a 3D view, you can kind of already see how nicely we are going to a bicycle path or road up ahead. We are not going to use this one, we are going to the left, and we are going to follow part of the old water system. And so that was part of the defense system, which most cities had, of course. And you can see some of the stars of the system. If you look at the, I'm not sure if you can detect them, but you should see that we are sometimes taking a little bit of a corner because we are part of the star shape of the old protective works, if that makes sense. And I hope they can also see and like the way that the new camera setup now works. I'm quite happy with the concept, although the shaking do need to look into a little bit more. But I do think you can see more of the surroundings, in this case the water. But again, let me know in the comments what you think, because otherwise we would have seen more where the car is now, the Tesla now is in the middle of the picture, and that means that of course we see less of the nature on the right side in this case. So here you see one of the points, and you can still see that in the 3D view. Maybe I should make that bigger. I will make it bigger. You see on the grassy field, you still see the shapes that they made to for some social distancing ideas. I think that's probably what it was for. I know they did it in my area. And again, a shared bicycle street. You can also, this one, in fact, I wouldn't say it scared me, but I did notice that the cars were, let's say, taking more space than I would normally expect on a road like this. I think further on it does a little bit more. Now you can see I've moved the camera again back to the right side. I think it works quite well, to be fair. Oh, I think we just missed it in the top view, but if you go back a minute you can see it. On the top view you should have seen quite a few buildings with trains there. That's part of the train museum. So if you're in Utrecht and you have kids, that's kind of a nice place to go. And of course you can go there by bicycle, if you want to. We are just following the water. So I figured let's go for a little bit of a detour, and then we are going to enter the inner city again. Of course, there was no sunny blue sky, and it was quite windy, to be fair. A storm is coming. It will start hitting later this evening. But given that I'm quite busy in the next week, I will put this one online today. I might not do all the extra features that I normally do, simply because I want to make sure that this is online today. I like this tree which is totally in the middle, but I decided not to take it away and assume that bicycles will just figure it out. So we are slowly looping back to the inner city, leaving the defensive. Now you can see in the big view, it's got one of these corners we were talking about. But we are re-entering the city part, or the old city part, slowly. Good example of that you have to anticipate, because I kind of knew that she would be looking at the road when she got on her bike, and she never looks backwards. She assumed that if there's a car or other bicycles there, that they will brake. Before we get into the inner city again, I also noticed that compared, and I've said this before, and my goal is not to make fun of Amsterdam, but you will notice that when I'm getting into the inner city, that because bicycles are more friendly here compared to Amsterdam, the reverse then also makes sense, that people walking about claim the street more, which is, I think, is fair. I mean, it's not like a bicycle area per se. But you do notice that, and that means that they are assuming that you will slow down and you won't do the same thing as in Amsterdam and start using your bell and yelling. Sorry to be so blunt, but that's kind of how it is. But especially if you get into the inner city in a few minutes, you will see that people just are crossing the road and assuming it's their place, and it's a shopping area, so I think they're totally correct, to be fair. So that means it's up to you on the bicycle to drive around and work around it. When I have visitors from work projects and we are in Utrecht instead of Amsterdam, I always have to tell them, no, you can sort of you don't have to be as scared of the bicycles as you are in Amsterdam. I would carefully argue that Amsterdam is the only city where, in my opinion, the bicycles are way too aggressive. And people adapt to that quite quickly. Just watch people just standing in the middle of what in Amsterdam would say, get off the road, get off the road. It would be, they're more relaxed. And it's not because there are no bicycles, although it was so cold that there were not many people around. But you can see the amount of bicycles on your left. That, it's not that they are not there. It's just that you kind of got lucky that there were not many bicycling at the moment. But like I said, of course there were some tourists, but there was mostly locals walking around. There's some nice cafes here. We are now getting up to where I assume still students are hanging out in the summer and drinking. So this is one called Belgium, which is a nice place. And in front of us there's also some nice terraces, which are normally quite filled in the summertime. But now I'm going quite slowly. So these are some nice terraces that are normally quite filled. And you don't see people jumping away in front of from the bicycle. I would probably be going about 4 or 5 kilometers an hour now. In front of us is the old city hall. And we are now in one of the main canals. The difference between Utrecht canals and Amsterdam canals, although they are now, because it's winter time, they're fixing it a little bit, is that there's also a lower part, which normally has nice eating places or bars. You can see one of the stairs going down there. You don't have that in Amsterdam. In Utrecht you do have them, and the canal we are now going on is the one in the most of the inner city and has most of the eating and drinking places. It's busy now, but in summertime this is really busy. So the name in English would be the Old Canal, I guess. And you can see how close it is to the Dom Tower, right? It's basically a walking distance. You can see the blue lines on the helicopter view. This is what I mean with people claiming their space, right? Yes, you are biking, but we don't care, which I guess is good. People are kind of floundering around because they are they're doing some work here. They are taking advantage of the fact that it's not tourist season, because this would definitely be the touristy place in summertime. That's why you can see downstairs they are now fixing it up a bit, but you can see these different areas where you can sit in the summer times and eat and drink. And you don't have that in the Amsterdam canals. But you do have that here. You see stairs going down everywhere and you have eating places downstairs. Again, now that I can aim the camera, you can kind of pick up that a little bit more. So again, let me know what you think about the way that the camera now works. There's even a McDonald's here. I'm guessing as a tourist, this is well, it's a nice place to for sure, but as a tourist, this would be one of the spots you are going to hit. So I decided from here to go to the right again, probably this one, yes, to going to another square, which is kind of nice. Would be totally filled in summertime. So that's why I'm circling a little bit like this, just to show you the square. We are slowly now. So notice that the traffic lights are all off and the police car is coming. The police car is stopping for some people who were not sure if they can pass, but they are going to pass, and then I can go again. I hinted this car that he could go before me, otherwise I could have gone first. So we are now on the Neude, and this is again the road, which is the busiest bicycle path in the Netherlands. They claim. At least we are getting up to it. Again, it's very busy in working days and in summer because of all the students coming into the city. It's actually so busy that the city now is giving out rewards for people coming up with a plan how to resolve the amount of bicycles that they can be spread over time a bit more. This is kind of funny. I stay behind this father with a child. She is still quite unstable on the bicycle, and I figured I will stay behind it just as sort of a protective barrier, because you can see sometimes bicycles come up speeding quite hard. You can see sometimes she almost falls over. And I figured if she falls, that I will be blocking all the other traffic. But this is what you do as a parent, teaching your kids to bike. So especially this traffic light, they are really asking for input on how to make it even better, because it gets too busy. And you can see on the helicopter view we are at the music center again, and catching the blue light line that we already crossed before. So again, just using the camera to look around a little bit to show you the difference. And again, just as a reminder, this is the water we are now going over, which was the highway before. Before that was water, of course. And now you can kind of see, because I could turn the camera, what that means. Guessing I'm waiting for the red light. Yep. You can see on the helicopter view, I'll make that a little bit bigger. There you can see how we got here, but also where the water first was, and then where the highway was, and then where the water returned. On the helicopter view, the building is still not as far as they are now. It'll probably take another few years before they're totally done with this area. The building on your right, the grey building, they actually made it when I was a kid. I remember because I was playing on the roof when they were building it and I got stuck. It was quite tricky. Oh well. Kids on building areas. So now I could have looped directly from this part back to the second city center, so where I'm living. But I won't. I will take a small detour to the Munt, which is where the euro and the guilders were pressed before. So where the coins were pressed, and also where one of the windmills of the city is. And then we'll take the D.Schippers bridge, so the bridge going over the school and then over the water to the new city area. So we could have taken the road that you see on your right. That would also result in the same destination. But we are going to one which is near the water on your left side in the helicopter view. While we are waiting at this traffic stop. The downside of January, that is everything looks a little bit darker, a little bit more gloomy because, well, it's winter. So I'll definitely also do a city ride, more complete one in the summertime. But it was good practice to see how this movable camera can be used. You can see on the flags how windy it is. But you can also see there are still quite a few people biking around. Again, a good example of why I wanted to have this camera like this. So you can now see I'm clearly aiming it to the right, and you can see the ice still on the water, and some of the birds standing on top of the ice when we are passing the windmill. So I think it's an improvement, and I hope you agree with me. So we need to do some fine tuning to get it exactly the way that I want, but I think in concept is working. I probably have to sort of make a small grip for it, so I can easily move it to left and the right and more slower speed, and not like a jerky movement that I'm now sometimes doing. I'm a person who, weirdly enough, well, not weirdly enough, but I prefer to have both of my hands on the steering wheel. I'm not the most stable person myself, both mentally and physically, I guess. I'm not sure what the GPS is thinking today, because it's putting me on the wrong side of the road quite a few times already. Again, same situation, small kids, I'm staying behind. aiming the camera to the right again so we can look over the water and over the bridge. So in the helicopter view you can see that the building is quite big, bigger than it looks from the outside, and that's where they used to make Dutch coins. In this corner we have seen quite a few videos already. I'm always amazed if I look at the helicopter view how much water there actually is in the different cities in the Netherlands, and yeah, Utrecht is no exception. That was still sort of frozen. Sorry. The old couple was pondering what I was going to do. So until I stuck out my hand to give direction, they were unsure. So we are getting close to the ending of this video, probably another 5 minutes or so. Because at some point my audio stopped working. I'm hoping there's still a bug in the software of the camera, which will be resolved before summertime. So we'll cut the recording short there, but first we're going up to the D.Schippers bridge again. Now I would not call this new area of town, but of course they are a different century than the inner city were just in. Wow, that runner was quite fast because he's going to be together with me on the bridge later on. He was also running through red, so clearly he doesn't want to stop for anything. But I am quite impressed that he followed me this quickly, because I don't think this red light is taking that long. But we'll see, maybe I was longer here than I expected. You can see on the helicopter view again the loop we are talking about when we are going up to that school. So in the main view we can see in front of us these two sticky thingies in the air are the bridge, and the school we can already kind of see. I guess we were here quite long, because he is going to there he is, you see. He's like, no way I'm going to stop for a red light, and just keeps walking. I was actually pondering, do I stay behind him or not when I'm going up the bridge. So I'll turn the camera, I think I'm doing that now, yeah. So that you can see the inner part of the loop going up. There it is. So you can see we are looping up the bridge, and I actually heard him running behind me. So I could not slow down that much because probably will be upset. You can see we're now on top of the school, turning the camera the other way around. And by the end of this we will stop the recording. So this is going to be slowly the end of the second test video I'm doing. I hope you enjoyed it. It was not really meant to be a perfect video, because otherwise I can't learn anything. But I think there's enough for me to continue on this route. Again, you can see now the water, because I can aim the camera and I will straighten the camera over here. And you can see what the difference is, right? So I think that's a good feature. So hopefully by the next time this building will also be done, and the yellow scaffolding will be coming down. But yeah, like I said, thank you for watching. See you in the next one. Bye bye.